Something I've seen so much of these days is Jayce and Viktor fanfics or artworks. I didn't think much of anything to these two for the longest time, but I've been bored and out of ideas lately, so screw it. Are Jayce and Viktor gay? Reminder, I am a dude with close friendships, so I understand bromance and its aspects, but I am not gay. So if I get anything wrong with their relationship or the ideas or concepts I have in my mind, please correct me in the comments. I love reading all of them. It is so important that you understand who Viktor and Jayce are. Let's start off with Jayce. He is a conventionally attractive dude, a genius but a loner. If Arcane Jayce is anything like League, then he has not so many friends. This stems from his intelligence being too high, making him appear arrogant and boring to most his age. He has always suffered with this, being alone a lot and even hanging out with his little sister Caitlin more. This was because she also suffers from the same thing. Yes, they are not blood siblings, but I don't care. They still have a lot in common, and that's why they are seen hanging out so much. Basically, to make a point, Jayce was a loner, never understood by most, and had only a few people to talk with, Heimerdinger and Caitlin. Sure, he can talk with everyone, but that's only when he puts up a fake persona. The confident, political, seducing Jayce. Behind the scenes, we know he's just a nerd. No offense, that was the best way to put it. So when he met Viktor, he was bound to feel a connection. Viktor is a genius and university assistant for Heimerdinger, but he too is a loner. Only difference, he comes from Zahn. Having little to nothing in his life, he lacks a lot, and he hates himself for it. He can't walk without a cane. He suffers from an illness. Life is unfair to him. This results in him not liking to be emotional, thinking only statistically or scientifically. Results in him hating himself and ignoring all human emotions altogether. But while we never see him connect with Jayce in the same way, Jayce shows it, Viktor trusts him a lot. We see Viktor genuinely be himself around Jayce, and here's the thing, Viktor is an introvert, so him hanging around anyone for so long shows that he's comfortable around them. These are the little nitpicks in Arcane that really show you emotions without words. This stems from Viktor always wanting someone to care for him. Sure, he doesn't, and sure, he hates being in the public eye, but he still craves affection. Not just love, but someone to treat him regularly, someone to see him as just a person. Jayce sees him as another scientist, another loner, a person who he can relate to, despite their physical and mental differences. This is all the context you need on Jayce and Viktor, because that's all we have. Sure, we know they made Hextech together, but in the 7 years of friendship and science partnerships, they mainly just connected over similar interests, similar wants, and somewhere in this context, Jayce started to feel protective over Viktor, which is completely normal for friends to do. If I had a disabled friend, I wouldn't let anyone talk bad about him or just let him get hurt. I would be there for him too. So as context ends, no, there is no signs of any romance happening. This is where I would like to draw some lines. These lines represent where bromance ends and where real love begins. See, firstly, Jayce wasn't doing too much at all. He was always there for Viktor because Viktor had no one. Sure, he left Mel alone to go sit with bro, but who else was going to sit there? Who else did Viktor have? Sure, he rushed to save Viktor, but he was going to die if he didn't. That is in the lines of bromance or just friendship. That isn't anything crazy, and it doesn't cross any lines. This care and immediate actions by Jayce are not romantic at all if you consider the circumstances. Jayce is the only one Viktor has in his life. So from that perspective, Jayce was just a really good friend. A real one, if I may say so myself. On the other hand, Arcane is known to deliver specific messages through scenes. Not a single moment is wasted to show something simple, and love is often shown through actions, small build-ups, rather than words. Sure, you could argue that Caitlin and Vi were also in between the lines of just friendships every time Caitlin saved Vi. But we know exactly how Arcane was building up with them and how they ended up crossing the lines very quickly. So in the same logic, it would not be impossible to assume Jayce and Viktor having so many concerned scenes or Jayce saving Viktor scenes leads to a similar formula as Vi and Caitlyn. They both led to a breakup or one leaving moment. They both led to a mind-broken person and the other regretting their actions. Though one thing I will say is that Jayce and Viktor both had someone they loved alongside them. Jayce had Mel, Viktor had Sky. So you could argue that they're still in the lines of friendships, but you could also argue the opposite. This is where lines end. I sort of wanted to make sure you would understand that there are justifications for everything. Every scene with these two has fallen in between bromance, but they all fit Vi and Caitlyn love lines as well. So I guess so far it depends on how you look at it. Both guys have a lover, but they do a lot on screen together. There is a similar build-up, but it's also just friendly actions. In your perspective, they may already be in the lover's lines. In my perspective, they are not. So it's all about perspective so far. This is where we talk about the finale. And it's because after a long amount of scenes that can be justified, there is no way this finale is not romantic. If you think that boys will ever do this intimate stuff with their friends, you're in denial. Because bro, me and all my friends saw this scene and immediately called them gay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it was romantic. It was intimate. They both left their loved one. Jayce called Mel out for her actions and Viktor let Sky die. They both gave up on their love, but never on their real love. And why? Out of all the ways to end such a complex, emotional banger of a show, would Arcane show us Jayce and Viktor hold hands? When in the entire show has Arcane ever shown us some emotional scene without deeper purposes? Fighting the power together just to vanish into a rock with one another? This is not lustful or love or something casual like Echo and Powder. Something that we can just see and understand the feeling behind. This is intimate and this is something we can't understand, and I believe that was the purpose. This whole idea that Viktor from the future called Jayce out as a child to make this destiny happen is so intimate and something we can't understand. This is universal. And the only way for me to end this video off with an answer is that Jayce and Viktor are like Vi and Caitlyn. Cannot live without one another and cannot succeed without one another. Call it bromance, call it gay, it doesn't matter. This is something too intimate for us to understand.